Did Cleopatra live closer to the pyramids or to your smartphone? Can you imagine a queen who lived closer in time to the invention of the iPhone than to the builders of the Great Pyramid? What if everything you think you know about ancient Egypt is completely wrong? By the end of this video, you'll see why this fact is true and why history is far stranger than most people realize. When most people think of Cleopatra, they imagine her standing in front of pyramids, ruling Egypt at its peak, surrounded by awe-inspiring monuments. Movies and books often show her as part of an ancient world that seems uniform and timeless. But this image is misleading. Cleopatra did not live during the era of pyramid construction. In fact, she ruled thousands of years after they were built. This is a common misunderstanding that distorts our sense of historical timelines. While Cleopatra navigated the complexities of a thriving civilization, the pyramids were no longer active monuments. They had already existed for over 2 millennia. By her time, they were historical artifacts, relics of a bygone era that inspired awe but were detached from everyday life. The contrast between these monumental constructions and the political, cultural, and technological world Cleopatra lived in is staggering. Our perspective on history, Cleopatra's timeline, challenges our perception of ancient history. It shows that ancient monuments can outlast civilizations and that time is far more complex than we realize. It reminds us that human history spans thousands of years, and our intuitions about what is ancient versus modern are often wrong. When we view Cleopatra's life alongside the pyramids and modern technology, we gain a new understanding of how connected and how vast our history truly is. So the next time you hear about Cleopatra or see the pyramids, remember this astonishing fact. She lived closer in time to the iPhone than to the builders of the Great Pyramid. History is not just old, it's mind-blowingly deep, full of surprises and often stranger than fiction. If you want more facts that will change the way you see the world, hit subscribe and follow for more. The Great Pyramid of Giza was completed around 2560 BC. That's over 4,500 years ago. At the time the pyramids were being built, woolly mammoths still roamed the earth in some regions, and writing itself was still a relatively new invention. Imagine that. The pyramids were constructed long before civilizations we consider ancient even existed. They were feats of engineering and vision that survived millennia, far outlasting the people who built them. Now, for the shocking comparison. From the construction of the pyramids to Cleopatra's lifetime, there's a gap of roughly 2,500 years. From Cleopatra's death in 30 BC to the release of the first iPhone in 2007, there's only about 2,000 years. This means Cleopatra lived closer in time to our modern technology than to the builders of the pyramids. It's almost impossible to imagine, but that is the reality of historical timelines. Now for the shocking comparison. From the construction of the pyramids to Cleopatra's lifetime, there's a gap of roughly 2,500 years. From Cleopatra's death in 30 BC to the release of the first iPhone in 2007, there's only about 2,000 years. This means Cleopatra lived closer in time to our modern technology than to the builders of the pyramids. It's almost impossible to imagine, but that is the reality of historical timelines. Why does this fact feel so mind-bending? Our brains compress ancient history, lumping events thousands of years apart into a single, long-ago period. Anything before the Common Era seems impossibly old, while modern history feels immediate, even though it's often only a few centuries long. Understanding Cleopatra's true place in history forces us to reframe how we perceive time and civilization. Cleopatra ruled in a surprisingly sophisticated world. She had access to libraries, including the famous Library of Alexandria, which was a center of knowledge and learning. Medicine and surgical practices were more advanced than many assumed. Cosmetics, perfumes, and art flourished, while trade across the Mediterranean allowed for political and economic influence. Cleopatra was deeply engaged with this world, influencing alliances, trade, and culture on a massive scale.